I think it is a brave move, yeah, because when you've become successful, and then you take a bit of a detour with the music, you do risk losing everything. And however big you are, there's always dozens, hundreds, thousands even people just waiting around the corner, and record companies keen to push their next pet project. And it's a very very easy thing to let slip. And making the wrong album at the wrong time is a sure way of doing that. So it is tricky. It's a tricky thing to get right, and it's a tricky thing to bring the audience with you when you do that, because a lot of them, if not the majority, will want you to stay doing what you do. And every time you do a little detour, they're like, it's not as good as what you did. Why don't you go back and do that again? And you get into all that sort of stuff. So to be able to do that and just keep getting bigger, again, brilliant. And I envy that again as well. But that decision to go, I remember once, I think they were doing Shake the Disease when I first started to notice that they were now banging things, big metal plates, whatever it was they were doing, and I just felt like I'd gone backwards 10 years. It was so advanced, just even in thinking, what they were doing with sounds and all that. And I always prided myself on sound, and all of a sudden that they was on the same program as me, and I just felt as if it's horrible. It was so ahead of me, and I felt so bad about it, and I could really let myself down, and that gave me a kick up the arse, the first of a couple that Depeche Mode had given me over the years, and made the first of two big impressions on me. But it was fantastic, and it really was. People often said I was ahead of my time in '79, but Christ, nothing to what they did just a few years later. It's a huge leap forward, much more impressive than anything I did. Brilliant. I just think for a while they kind of took the lead. They were being influenced by some very clever people. The whole German thing, which had a big effect on the American industrial thing. Ultimately, there was some clever stuff coming out of Germany, and they were clever enough, or just into it, I guess, but to tap into it and use enough of it in pop music that it didn't alienate their audience, and use not too much of it that it just stopped being pop chart orientated music. Just a brilliant balance. Now, whether that's orchestrated or thought about as a decision, I don't think it is really. I think you just get influenced by things and you use it in your own music, and if you're lucky, you get the right, you stumble on the right balance, and away your career goes. That's fantastic. I'm sure plenty of people have been influenced by different things, and they just get too into it, and they just lose it. They go off on this experimental tangent and lose their audience, and lose their record company, and lose any kind of public interest and support that they had before. Depeche Mode just seemed to get it right, and then they developed it. But I think a lot of that has to do with Alan Wilder, really, who was grasping that sort of stuff and was just moving it forward, and it just got better and better and better, and darker, and it just turned into something that to this day I still think. The Songs of Faith and Devotion album is, for me, is one of the best albums ever, in the whole history of music. Like, absolutely work of genius.